Think about the last time someone said something that ruined your entire day. Maybe it was a comment from your boss or coworker, text from an ex, someone cutting you off in traffic and staring at you like it was your fault. Your whole morning is completely ruined because of something that took 3 seconds to happen. Here's what nobody told you. The anger was supposed to last about 90 seconds. That's it. Neurologically, the stress chemicals that flood your body when something triggers you are designed to flush out of your bloodstream in 90 seconds or less. A minute and a half. That's the biology. So why were you still angry 3 hours later? There's one thing your brain does right after anger fires that almost nobody notices. It's the exact reason some people stay calm and everyone else stays stuck. We'll get to what it is in a moment. But first, you need to understand what's actually happening inside your body when someone sets you off. Brain scientist Dr. Bolte Taylor published research on this in 2008. Stress chemicals triggered by anger, cortisol, adrenaline, the entire cocktail, cycle out of your body in about 90 seconds. That's it. If you're angry longer than that, you're not being kept angry by what happened. You're being kept angry by what you keep telling yourself about what happened. Read that again. The event doesn't hold the anger. Your story about the event does. Most people spend years believing that certain people just set them off, that certain situations are impossible to stay calm in. The whole time, the 90-second clock was already ticking. They just didn't know it was there. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly what your brain does after anger fires, why some people seem impossible to rattle, and 3 specific things you can practice today to change the pattern at the root. Chapter 1, the 90-second biology nobody taught you. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a tiger and a passive-aggressive email. That sounds like a joke, it's not. When your senses pick up something that feels threatening, a tiny almond-shaped cluster deep in your brain fires an emergency signal. This cluster is called the amygdala. Think of it as your brain's smoke alarm. In less than half a second before your thinking brain even registers what's happening, your body floods with stress hormones. Heart rate up, muscles tensed, breathing tight, you're ready to fight. This was useful 30,000 years ago. The tiger appears. Your body reacts instantly, you survive. The problem is, your brain runs the exact same program for a snarky comment in a group chat. Who does she think she is? The amygdala doesn't stop to evaluate, it fires. Chemicals are in your blood, and now, whether you know it or not, you're on a 90-second countdown. Those chemicals take about 90 seconds to physically flush from your body. During those 90 seconds, you feel terrible. Your thinking narrows, your patience disappears. That's biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. But after 90 seconds, the chemicals are gone. What keeps the anger alive past that point is your brain replaying the trigger, rerunning the moment, rehearsing what you should have said, building the case for why you're right and they're wrong. Every time you do that, you send a fresh signal to the amygdala. New chemicals, new 90-second cycle, new flood. You're not holding a grudge. You're re-triggering yourself over and over without realizing it. Anger works like a bonfire. The original spark dies fast. But if you keep throwing logs on it, it burns for hours. The logs are your thoughts. Chapter 2, the story machine. Here's the thing I said I'd tell you. One thing your brain does right after anger fires keeps people stuck long after the 90 seconds are over. Your brain is a story machine. Constantly, automatically, it takes the raw events of your life and wraps them in meaning. Someone doesn't reply to your message. The raw event is neutral. 3 scene ticks, no reply, but your brain doesn't leave it there. They're ignoring me. They don't respect my time. This is just like last time. None of that is the event. All of it is the story. The story is what refires the amygdala. Over and over, each replay another fresh 90 seconds of chemicals. Each loop, the fire burns hotter and the thinking gets cloudier. This is the whole game, not the trigger. The story about the trigger, calm people aren't calmer because nothing bothers them. They're calmer because they've learned to separate the raw event from their interpretation of it. They sit with what actually happened without immediately coding it in meaning. Someone cuts them off in traffic. Their brain starts to build the narrative, and somewhere in there, a different thought interrupts it. That person's probably late for something. Story changed, replay stopped, chemicals flush, done. Some of you are thinking right now, but what if the person actually is disrespecting me? Am I supposed to just pretend it didn't happen? No, that's not what this is about. You can address a real problem without being hijacked by the spiral. You address it much better when you're not hijacked. The anger doesn't help you solve anything. It burns your energy and narrows your thinking before you even open your mouth. Chapter 3, Why Some People Never Seem to Lose It. You know someone like this. Something goes wrong, and they just pause, respond calmly, move forward like nothing's stuck. You've probably wondered what their secret is. Whether they were just born that way. They weren't. Research on emotional regulation shows consistently that people who appear calmest under pressure are not people who feel less. They often feel just as intensely as anyone else. What they've developed is the ability to find the gap. Between the trigger and the reaction, there is a space, fraction of a second. Most people don't know it exists, but it's always there. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps. He wrote about this from inside conditions most of us can't imagine. He said the one thing no one could take from him was his freedom to choose his response to whatever was happening. In a death camp, with nothing left, if the gap existed there, it exists in your worst moments too. When something triggers you, you can learn to notice the physical sensation before you act on it. Not suppress it, not pretend it isn't real, just notice it. The heat rising in your chest, the jaw tightening, the urge to fire back immediately. You feel it, you notice it, and then you choose what to do next. That pause is the difference between a reaction and a response. Everything that separates steady people from reactive ones lives in that pause. Your most hot-headed moments aren't proof that you can't change. They're proof that nobody ever showed you where the gap was. Now you know it's there. Chapter 4, What Anger is Almost Always Hiding. Here's something that changes how you read your own patterns. Anger is almost never the original emotion, it's the bodyguard. When a trigger fires, the first thing that usually happens is something softer: hurt, fear, feeling dismissed, feeling small or unseen. Those feelings are exposed and vulnerable. So your brain sends the bodyguard out front. Anger, because anger points outward. It puts the problem on someone else. It feels much safer than saying that actually hurt me. Your partner forgets something that mattered to you. The first feeling is hurt. Do I matter to you? That's the real thing underneath. But hurt feels exposed. Though anger shows up instead and says, you never care about anything that matters to me. Different words, a completely different energy. And the person on the other side responds to the anger, not the hurt underneath it, which means the real conversation never happens. The wound stays buried. And the next time something reminds you of it, the anger fires faster because nothing was ever actually resolved. And you can slow down enough to ask, what's the softer feeling underneath this? You get access to the real issue. That's not about being gentle or letting things slide. It's about solving the actual problem, instead of just reacting to the surface of it. Bodyguard keeps showing up because the person behind it never got heard. Address the person behind it. Bodyguard stops needing to come out. Chapter 5, 3 Things That Actually Work. Here's what doesn't work. Trying to think your way calm in the middle of the spike. When your amygdala fires, your rational brain goes partly offline. That's not a figure of speech. You literally have less access to clear thinking during a peak anger response. So telling yourself just calm down in that moment is like trying to read a map while someone screams directly in your face. The capacity isn't there yet. You don't train this during the storm. You train before the storm, so the storm gets smaller. Some of you are thinking, that sounds too slow. I need something I can use right now when someone's already in my face. And here's the honest answer. What changes your automatic reactions in high-pressure moments is what you practice when nothing's on the line. The reps have to happen when it's easy, so they're available when it's not. 3 things backed by real research. First, name what you're feeling. Researcher Matthew Lieberman at UCLA found that simply labeling an emotion out loud or silently reduces amygdala activity measurably. I'm angry, I feel dismissed. That act of naming pulls your prefrontal cortex back online. It creates a real buffer between the feeling and the action. It sounds too simple to matter. It isn't. One word changes the chemistry. Second, Extend the exhale, not a full breathing practice. Just breathe in for 4 counts and out for 6. The longer exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the system that puts the brakes on the stress response. 2 or 3 cycles and the chemical flood starts to settle. Your thinking starts to come back. You get access to the gap. Third, interrupt the story deliberately. The moment you catch yourself replaying the trigger, stop and ask one question. What's the most boring, neutral explanation for what just happened? Not generous, just neutral. Your coworker didn't reply. Neutral story, they're swamped. Your friend canceled. Neutral story, something came up. You don't have to fully believe it. You just need to break the automatic worst-case loop. That alone stops the next log from hitting the fire. None of this makes you passive. None of this means you leave real problems unaddressed. It means you address them from a clear head instead of a chemical flood, and you address them much better that way. We analyze the hidden psychological frameworks and mental models that govern your money, career, and daily choices every single week. If you want to train your second-order thinking and build a strategic competitive advantage, hit subscribe and join the channel. Here's the truth about people who seem emotionally steady. They're not suppressing anything. They've repeated different patterns enough times that the brain rewired around them. That's how neuroplasticity actually works. You don't change your instincts by deciding to. You change them by doing something different often enough that it becomes the new default. Start with one thing this week. When you feel anger rising, name it. Out loud if you can, I'm angry. Don't fight it. Don't act on it immediately. Just name it. Do that for 7 days. Notice what shifts. You open this thinking that certain people and certain situations just had power over your mood. They don't. They never did. The event never held the anger. The story did. The anger was always supposed to last 90 seconds. Now you know how to let it